I always liked Halloween. When I was younger, or when I was little, I remember my mom and dad would take me trick-or-treating. I get to dress up as a scary monster, and I get to go around and collect candy from house to house. I bring a whole bucket full home. And it was really fun. Not to mention delicious when you get to eat all the candy. But later on, I started hearing things like Halloween is evil, it's the devil's holiday. And I'm thinking, how could this be if we're just having fun? So, is Halloween evil? But first, we need to talk some history. Halloween is a short term for All Hallows Even, or Hallows Even, Halloween. All Hallows Eve is the evening before All Hallows Day or All Saints Day. This is Christian in origin. All Hallows Day or All Saints Day can be traced back to the 300s and 400s AD when Christians would hold feasts to celebrate the martyrs and saints who had died for Christianity. Around the 800s AD, the Western Christianity, the Western Church, set the date to celebrate it at November 1st for All Saints' Day. Now in Ireland, Christianity had come there in the 400s AD, around the 400s AD. But in Ireland, they retained their Celtic, or more specifically, Gaelic traditions and customs, including the feast or festival of Samhain, which is also held on November 1st. Samhain is a harvest festival where they did things like guising, which today we know of as trick or treat. They would have public bonfires. It was also the beginning of winter and the dark time of year. Also, it is a time when the veil between the physical and the spiritual was at its thinnest. Now, this Irish culture, this Christianized Irish culture, was brought to Scotland, and then in later times, Ireland or Irish and Scottish immigrants came to America and brought their customs with them. This gets combined with secular commercialism, and we have modern Halloween. But the question is, or one question we have to ask is, does this pre-Christian origin to these customs make them evil? Does it make Halloween evil? Modern Halloween practices could include having jack-o'-lanterns, where you carve, in our case today, a pumpkin. We carve out an evil face on it, put a candle in it. Well, scary looking face. And in the past, this has been used to not only for light, but to ward off evil spirits, to scare them away. So the question I'd have to ask there is, how can you ward off evil by doing something evil? Think about that one. What about trick or treat? Also known as guising. Is going up to someone's house dressed up as a scary monster at a time when everyone knows Halloween or trick or treat is going on. I should say trick or treat. Then you knock on the door, trick or treat. Someone puts some candy in your bucket. Then you go on to the next house. Is that evil? What about mischief night? A term that Halloween has come to be known as, because in some cases some young people will go around and vandalize, or they would play pranks on people. Is that evil? I think it is, because they're causing harm to people. What about Christians putting candles on the graves of loved ones, burning candles and leaving them there? Is that evil? None of this is in the Bible. But if we are going to condemn Halloween for being evil because it's not in the Bible, then we have to also condemn Christmas and Easter, because they have similar origin stories. So, how can something be evil if it doesn't cause harm to anyone? And especially if you know what the history of your activity is, whatever you may be doing, trick or treat, celebrating Halloween, how can it be evil if you know the origins of what you're doing and you're not causing harm to anyone? Mischief night. Well, if you're going around causing mischief and vandalizing things, pranking people, I would consider that harm, and I would consider that evil. But stuff like jack-o'-lanterns, trick-or-treating, even if you want to celebrate Samhain to some extent, or if you want to go put candles on the graves of loved ones, how could any of this be evil? So I'm going to leave it here. And if you agree, if you disagree, or if you just have some thoughts, feel free to comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And happy Halloween.